It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I am Iron Man.
I'm Pickle Rick!
I have a dream.
I am your father.
I'm Sean Spencer. This is my partner, Gus Silly Pants Jackson.
I'm gonna show you how great I am.
God bless America.
Avengers!
Assemble.
That's life. That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know I'm gonna change that tune. When I'm back on top in June. I said that's life.
Welcome back to life, you beautiful humans. On today's episode, I know it sounds like it might be a repeat title, but it's not. We've talked about the movie theaters, but we have not really talked about cinema. More importantly, the death of cinema. And I'm going to talk to you about two very drastically different situations that I went into this past weekend. One was amazing, one was terrible, and there's a lot more details to come with it, but I don't want to give too much away before we get into the podcast, because before that happens, make sure you're following at That's Life with Jacob on social media. At That's Life with Jacob on social media. It's not that hard. You're on Instagram anyways. You're on TikTok anyways. You're on YouTube anyways. So why not just, you look up at That's Life with Jacob, you give it a follow, give it a thumbs up, everybody's happy, right? At That's Life with Jacob on social media, and now let's talk about the death of cinema.
Right, quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
So I am what you would call a movie connoisseur. I love films. I love going to the movies. I love that experience. I love movie theater popcorn. But I love Hulu, Netflix, HBO Max, you name it. I love watching shows. I love watching movies. I love watching TV in general. Have a lot of fond memories of, my favorite shows. And we've talked about TV sitcoms on here. We've talked about the movie theater itself. And I love to review movies. If you've ever been on any of my social media platforms, I review movies exclusively on YouTube and on Instagram. And what I realized this past week after having two very different movie-going experiences, not because of the surroundings. I can axe all that stuff out, and even if there was an annoying crowd member or a loud popcorn muncher, I can put all that to the side. I had two very different experiences because of the films that I watched. And it had nothing to do with the content of the film. I'm not trying to compare a comedy to a horror. I'm not trying to compare a romance to an action thriller. That's not what I'm saying. I experienced two very different cinematic films this week. I mean, the title of the podcast gives it away. The death of cinema. As a kid, I can only speak for my age when I was a kid. That meant something. That meant you were about to watch, for the most part, a banger. Like when that lion got up there and struts his stuff and tilts his head left to right, you're like, yo, we're in for it. We about to get a movie. When the Statue of Liberty lady pops up, or when the Pegasus with wings pops up, like you knew you had a banger on the way. You're about to have a great few hours. And looking at the films this week, I realized the magic of movies is dead. The magic of the cinema is gone, people. And it is not because of movie theaters. It's not because of streaming. It's not because people will go to the... I'm getting pumped up already. People will go to the theater for a good film. People will go see a great film. Look at Top Gun. Look at any Marvel movie. Except for Eternals. Look at any great movie, though. Top Gun Maverick, people went and saw it. It was sold out for weeks and weeks. A month into its release date, and it was still sold out on a Sunday. I know because I tried to get tickets. People will go to the cinema for great film. So it has nothing to do with the film-going experience being moved to your living room. None of that. It has to deal with the content being put on screens nowadays. And I'm going to talk about two very different experiences that I just had. And that's where this thought came up into my mind is cinema dead? Is classic cinema dead? Are the days where you got pumped up for a movie that didn't have a Marvel title scrolling in front of it gone? Because Star Wars has lost its magic. I don't care what you say, you diehard fans out there, the last 3 trilogy movies, besides the first one, wasn't something that you went home and talked about for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Wasn't something that you went home and talked about on Instagram and posted about. I know diehard Star Wars fans. They weren't going home and doing that. They were just like, it was okay, or it was good. Or the fans that are like, we're fans no matter what, pretended that it was the greatest cinematic trilogy to ever be put together, even though that they know that that's complete bull. Besides a Marvel title, people don't get excited anymore. Top Gun, that was fantastic. Besides Top Gun, name the last great movie you saw in a theater. Not a Marvel film, not a franchise film, because at this point, like the Marvel formula, which we'll talk about towards the end of the podcast, at this point, studios have found a formula for a certain type of film. That formula works. They can just reproduce the same thing with different people. Different characters, basically same formula. They can find a medium amount of success. But I'll tell you what, even Marvel's not putting out banger after banger after banger anymore. They're starting to lose some of their magic. I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves, when's the last time you left the movies? You turned off your TV after watching it on your couch at home. When's the last time you watched a movie, specifically the cinema, and you said that was a very enjoyable film? Whether it was a sad movie, a happy movie, didn't matter. Like, that was a film that stuck with you. It had its own personal message. It was unique. It was enjoyable. And you said, I'm going to watch that again. Name the last time. I can name the last time I watched a movie twice. Top Gun. Top Gun Maverick. And I just saw the first Top Gun 3 months ago. Top Gun Maverick was one of the more enjoyable films that I've ever watched. Very well made. It had its own voice. It had its own unique storyline. I talked about that in my movie review. The whole ending mission that they had to accomplish is one of the more unique plot lines that I've ever seen in a military-type film. They have to drop a missile in this weird mountain range. They have to go up, down, reverse, sideways. They have to drop a missile in a 4x4 hole, and then someone else has to drop a missile in a 2x2 hole, and then they have to fly out of there, fight all these fighter planes. It's insane. It's crazy. It's unique. When's the last time you said, yo, I gotta watch that film again? When's the last time you said, yo, let's go back to the movie because I really want to see that on the big screen one more time? Thor didn't do it for me. I've seen every Marvel film twice in theaters for probably the last 15 years. I still have yet to see Thor twice. And it's not anything like, I thought it was a bad movie. I thought it was a very good movie. I enjoyed a lot of it. But the cinema itself is losing its unique voice, its unique character. Why Thor Ragnarok, and I'm staying in the Marvel vein, why Thor Ragnarok was so refreshing and unique and exciting is because Taika Waititi, the director, had his own voice, his own vision, his own style, and they let him do it. James Gunn with the Guardians of the Galaxy, he has his own voice, his own vision, his style, they let him do it. Top Gun, own voice, own vision, own style, they did it. You see, what's happening is directors aren't directors anymore. Directors are yes men. There's very few Steven Spielbergs out there. There's very few guys that have the power to make whatever the hell they want with their own vision, their own everything, their own creativeness, their own whatever. There are very few guys like that left that a studio will let that happen and not meddle in it. The studios are what's ruining the film industry. It's what's ruining cinema. Directors can't have a voice, can't have a vision. When's the last time you saw a movie and you're like, oh, that's different than what's out there. That's different from what I've seen in the last 15 films. Name a movie. I'll name one here in a second because I saw one of those and it made me miss the cinema. And it made me realize how dead the cinema really is. The filmmaking process in and of itself is dead. Hollywood is falling on deaf ears. It's all about pushing agendas. It's all about this, that, this. It's all about, well, the studio says that we polled 39 people online and 17% need some comedy, 29% need a sad part, this person needs a blue couch in it. Like, the studio's just like, well, we have some formula. The magic of movies was magic. It wasn't a formula. The magic of the cinema, the magic of the movies that you grew up with was somebody, or the director, having a vision, expressing that vision in a unique way that set itself apart from other movies that are out there. Every freaking movie is the same. Every action movie has Ryan Reynolds, Dwayne The Rock Johnson in it. Every romantic comedy has Ryan Gosling in it. Every comedy has some form of John C. Reilly or Will Ferrell or Kevin Hart. Every horror film is done by Blumhouse on a $12 budget. They all have the same premise. A demon's taking over somebody and the person floats and they float around and a bunch of people die. Everything's the same. Name the last unique movie you saw where you're like, that has its own voice, that has its own vision, that has its own feel and style. That's something I enjoy. You want to know why people cling to those kind of movies? Because it's refreshing. If you look at the Rotten Tomatoes score, those are the movies that do poorly because the critics, and I put that in quotation marks, that's not part of our formula, so we got to push our formula. This is the formula that the cinema has to follow now. It has to be one blonde girl, one Asian guy, one black guy, one white guy, one billionaire guy, one poor guy, one homeless guy, one veteran. It's got to have all these different things in it, otherwise we hate it. You look at those movies that have an agenda, not even necessarily an agenda, but they have a formula that they're being put into. Those movies fall on deaf ears, and Rotten Tomatoes launches those movies to the 99%. Oh, it's in the 96. That movie sucked. It was terrible. It was not enjoyable. It didn't have its own unique feel. It was the same freaking formula that I've seen 12 times. It just had a new actress or new actor doing it. Because one of the movies I watched this week, I was like, wow, had one of the most refreshing experiences in the movies. It was fun, exciting, hilarious, gory, sad, great acting, great atmosphere feel. It was unique. It had its own voice. And guess what? Does terrible on Rotten Tomatoes, which is why I no longer read IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes or Cinema Score or any of that bull. Terrible on Rotten Tomatoes, guess what? Audience score through the roof. The other film that I watched this week, amazing Rotten Tomato score, like 89 or something crazy like that. Certified fresh, boom, stamp of approval. Audience score, terrible. Not even that terrible. The audience score is slowly coming down, though. Like, the audience score isn't in the 20s, but the audience score went from being insane, and it's dropping about a point to a point and a half every single week. So, that's a lot. That's a lot. A 72 and a 69, one's an F, one's a D. I think. I can't remember. But you get what I'm saying. Like, 1 to 1.5 points is a lot of points to be dropping, and it's been dropping once per week. Where are the directors? Where are the people that have a unique voice? Where are the writers? Where are the studios that are going to let people have their own unique vision and then execute that unique vision? Where are those studios? Some of the best films of the year are the smaller studios that are just like, yo, this director has a vision, this director has his own voice, has his own visionary, has his own style. Boom, let him go do it. Why do you think Quentin Tarantino is so damn successful? Because Quentin Tarantino has his own voice, has his own unique style, has his own character interactions, has his own language and violence and sexuality styles, has everything key to what he is and who he is as a director. And he's successful. That's not saying that any director with a vision or any director that graduated with a degree can go film whatever movie they want. We're supposed to eat our popcorn and enjoy it. But what I'm saying is you don't get the Quentin Tarantinos if you don't let them be Quentin Tarantinos. You don't get the Steven Spielbergs if you don't let them be Steven Spielberg. You don't. If you try and put them, well, you got to shove all your stuff into this formula and we can take a little bit of you, but unless it meets our formula style, nah, we don't want it. You're killing the cinema that way. I would rather go to a movie where a director genuinely thought like, oh, I thought I did a pretty good idea. This is a pretty good job, I thought. And then it sucked. I would rather have that experience than a studio slaps a director's name on it and it sucks either way, whether he did it by himself or the studio did it. But now they're just going to blame him and like, well, we fired our director, so we're going to get a new one. And that will fix everything. It's like, you're the problem. It has nothing to do with the director. It's you. You're trying to conform. Directors, in my personal opinion, and writers, in my personal opinion, are a type of artist. They are a type, and I mean the artists out there that like paint and stuff are probably like, we'll kill you if you say that again. But like, for me personally, it is a type of artwork to be able to create and form a story and then let that visually play out on a movie. Camera angles and camera shots, that's a type of artistry. But studios go, well, we found out that unless it's an 87.3 degree angle, most people stop paying attention at that time. Really? How about stop speaking for people and let the director speak for the people? Let the directors make a movie and the people will vote. That's a good movie, that's a bad movie. And then you can try something different. If a director goes out there with his vision, his style, his own mindset, and it's trash, then you can be like, yeah, we're going to fire this director and get a new director to film a new movie because his didn't pan out well, didn't resonate with the people. Because then that one's on him. But you can't put his name on the package that you've created and then be like, well, it sucks, so we're going to fire him. It's not his fault. Stop making the directors suffer. Stop making the writers suffer. You're destroying cinema. You are. Hollywood's destroying cinema. It's these big brands and big names that, oh, well, if you're not Lionsgate or if you're not Paramount or if you're not this or if you're not that, if you're not Universal, you know, your movie's going to fail. It's like your movies are failing either way. You just have enough money to keep throwing at the movies to keep your company going. Ooh, little inside secret, I know. You're worth $900 million, so you can afford a $300 million loss from time to time. Well, guess what? You might get more money if you let the directors and writers express themselves and stop ruining cinema. Because the cinema's not exciting to the people anymore. The people are done with Hollywood. They're done with the movies. That's why movies continue to fail. And that's why when one good movie comes out, what happens? Top Gun launches to the top worldwide, #1, and it stays there for 2 straight months because the people are crying out, let these directors do this. Let these directors have their own voice, their own vision, their own storyline, their own music, their own cinematography, because we love that. That's refreshing. That's unique. You know, Thor gets crushed because people are like, it's just too weird. It's just too this. At least Taika Waititi has his own vision, has his own taste, his own feel. You know that that's his thumbprint on a movie. You know that that's James Gunn's thumbprint on a movie. You know what a Quentin Tarantino movie looks like, a Spielberg's movie looks like. A Joe Pesci, name it. You know what these guys' movies look like, their thumb, their imprints. Stay out of the regulating business and let them be who they are. Take a chance on an artist once in a while. Because you're killing the cinema industry. So I went and saw 2 movies this week. The first movie I went and saw was Bullet Train. First off, I've been very excited about Bullet Train from the get-go. It looked like a lot of fun for those of you who are trying to like figure out Bullet Train. It's a movie where Brad Pitt, I'm trying to not give it away too much of the story. It's actually, because it really is a very well-made film and very enjoyable. And I encourage a lot of you to go see, and I know this might be a little hard financially, but like if you could go see this movie, Bullet Train, and then the one that I say next after it, you'll see the contrasting difference between them. But go see Bullet Train, because it is one of the better movies I've seen in a very long time. It's where Brad Pitt is hired to do a job. He gets stuck on a bullet train on its way to a certain destination, and basically a lot of people are on their way to that destination for several different reasons. The story is very easy to follow, but at the same time very intricate. Everybody's got their own angle. Everybody's there for a different reason, but all for the same reason at the same time. My mom, myself, and my girlfriend laughed and got emotional and got on the edge of our seats and witnessed horrific horror, gore, or you witnessed hilarious character interaction, or you witnessed very sad character deaths, or, very sweet, intimate moments between characters. You felt all the emotions. And I sat on the edge of my seat. Listen, you know it's a great movie when you're in the reclining chairs and you recline that thing to chair mode and not recline mode, and you're just on the edge of your seat laughing, stomping, crying, holding your chest because you don't know what craziness is going to happen the entire film. Cinematography, great. I thought it was beautifully done. The fact that they kept they're on a bullet train for 85%, maybe 90% of the movie. The fact that the director was able to keep, and I didn't look up the director's name, I really should have, because I really need to give him props. I'll make sure to see if he has an Instagram, I'll tag him in this today. But for the director to keep everything interesting the entire time, insert a new character here, introduce these two characters, let these two characters run into each other. That's hard to do. It was made with a vision. It was made with, hey, this is my thoughts on it. And Brad Pitt even said this in his interviews. Bullet Train was made by everybody buying into this director's idea, this director's mindset. The director's visuals, the director's music, the director's emotion. He set the stage perfectly and let these actors and actresses just ball out. Some of the best performances that some of these people have given in a movie called Bullet Train. One of the best cinema experiences I've had in years. It had its own unique feel. I left that movie and said, I'm going to go see it again. And is it the best acted movie? No. The most beautiful, insane, crazy action? No. The best music? No. The best love story? Not at all. The greatest writing? No, not particularly, although the writing I thought was great and the storyline was really good. The most beautiful cinematography with, wide sunset shots and nope. Mm-mm. The best CGI? Not at all. But it was a movie that was made from start to finish with what feels like zero studio interaction. Even if the studio meddled a little bit, you don't feel that in this movie. Start to finish, one of the funniest movies, one of the best movies I've seen in years. My mom doesn't do movies like this, kind of a dark comedy, I guess it would be. And my mom said, I want to go back and see it again. And that's not like my mom to say that. Everything, and here's what's so unique about it. Everything had a setup, had a payoff. Every character had a setup and a payoff. Every relationship between the characters had a setup and a payoff. The whole plot of the movie had a setup and a payoff. And I know you're like, well, that should be normal. It should be, but it's not. How many movies have you seen lately where a character's story doesn't get fully developed and you're just like, well, that character was kind of cool, but why did he just fall by the wayside? Bad writing. The studio goes, well, he's not testing too well with this type of audience, so get rid of him. Well, that character doesn't test well with vegans between the ages of 7 and 49, so just cut some of his scenes out and let's see if that boosts our movie. Oh, it didn't? Probably because the movie sucked and it had nothing to do with that character and people are frustrated that that character didn't have a setup and payoff. That's very rare to find. Bullet Train from literally, and I'm not going to say, there's an inanimate object that has a setup and a payoff. I don't want to give anything away. I was going to do a movie review on it, but I'm not going to give anything away because I highly encourage you to go watch it. One of the most enjoyable films I've been to in a very long time. But that was with a vision. Guess what? It is getting destroyed on Rotten Tomatoes. Destroyed. Like a 54 or something crazy like that. Audience scores through the roof. Why? Because people love refreshing. People love movies with vision. Let the people decide what cinema should be. Not the studios, because that's what cinema is. That is a film that I would go back and watch. I would happily pay another $15 to sit in somebody else's recliner and watch that movie on a big screen. With someone munching on popcorn and opening bags behind me. Gladly, I would do it again. Then let's look at the second movie that I went and saw. I went and saw Nope. The new Jordan Peele film. Jordan Peele, one of the most brilliant people in the blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. I love Jordan Peele. I thought Get Out was a fantastic movie. Think about it, though. Get Out, very popular. Audience score through the roof. People loved it. Why? It had its own unique vision. It had its own unique style. It had its own unique character development. Its own unique cinematography. You haven't seen a storyline like that before. It was refreshing. People loved it. Even look at Us. His second film. Unique storyline. Great character development. Great acting. Great cinematography. Eerie music. Great music. People loved it. It's refreshing. Get to Jordan Peele's third film, Nope. Audience score, not that great. Getting lower and lower compared to his other ones. I know people are like, if you go Google it right now, they're like, the audience score is pretty high. It's coming down every week. I've checked for 6 straight days. And it's coming down every day. Even if it's by a half point to a point, that's a lot. Rotten Tomatoes score basically gave him the Nobel Prize for making this film. Did I walk away going, wow, what a movie. It was so genius. Did you see the parallels in the soliloquies and whatever the else bullcrap he's trying to... Well, did you see that part of the movie was actually meant this, and this actually represents, you know, the workforce and how we need more jobs? It's like, shut up. You're trying to be too smart, too cute. Jordan Peele started drinking a little too much of his own juice. Yes, he's a fantastic... I wouldn't even say he's a fantastic director. He's had 2 fantastic ideas in Get Out and Us. And so he thinks he can just make whatever and people are going to flock to it, shove popcorn in their mouth. And the studios are like, yeah, we're going to keep letting them do this. And I know what you're thinking. Well, Jacob, Jordan Peele has his own mindset. He has his own vision and blah, 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 blah. The problem is Jordan Peele's trying to A, become a studio in and of himself, and B, is now highly involved with other studios. So now the influence is starting to pour in. Quentin Tarantino, don't give a damn about what studio you're from. He's going to make it the way he's going to make it. Jordan Peele's starting to dive into that formula. Well, these 4 things worked in Get Out. These 4 things worked in Us. These 4 things are going to carry over into Nope. And I'm not going to have any more new, really refreshing actors or new, really refreshing cinematography or new, really refreshing, you know, brilliant ideas. I'm not going to try and... I'm going to use the same 3 people that I've used in all my movies because they're great. I'm going to use the same kind of music because it's great. I'm going to use the same kind of feel because it's great. I'm going to use all these weird, all these weird parallels and all these weird symbolisms that don't have a setup and payoff in this movie and try and be too smart for my audience, well, the chimpanzee that ate the people actually represents a beast, and you can't tame a beast because that's against nature, and that's what the alien UFO live saucer thing represents, and blah, 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 blah. Do you get what I'm saying here? Do you get what I'm saying? A studio came in and said, well, these 4 things work. Well, people love the fact that you use symbolism. He's in that mind, well, people love the fact that I'm just going to keep putting it out there and I'm not going to develop anything anymore. I'm just going to shove the same product in front of them for 3 straight movies. Eventually, people get bored. Eventually, movies start to suck. Eventually, your magic runs thin. You don't believe me? Look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, I am a die-hard frickin' Marvel guy. Tattoos of them all over my body. I'll let you guess where. Right toe. Right big toe, to be exact. But Marvel, the last couple of films have not been banger, banger, banger. Hitter, hitter, hitter. The buzz of the talk. Buzz of the town. Why? Because they're starting to get into the formula of the studios. They're starting to overuse their own formula. You know, Marvel was so brilliant because they were the first people to really implement a formula that could go across a 26 movie universe. Great. It was genius. Now when the magic starts to run thin, your formula needs to go away and you need to start letting directors be directors. You need to let the cinema express itself. You need to let the visionaries express themselves. Because people are done with formulas. People are done following the rules. I think after being locked in our houses for 2 years, people are like, nope, I'm done. I'm done following the formula. I'm done following the rules. So I watched Bullet Train, one of the best movies of the year. I watched Nope, one of the worst movies of the year for a bunch of different reasons. For me personally. And it feels like Jordan Peele is back to just using the formula. The same thing that everybody else is doing in the cinema world. So this is what we get. We get movies that are made with visionaries and movies that are made with refreshing new ideas and that are fun and exciting like Bullet Train. And then you get Nope, which is just another weird horror film from Jordan Peele with the same few characters that he keeps using, with the same parallels and symbolisms as all his other movies, trying to have some larger agenda, some larger voice. Well, the alien flying saucer thing actually represents nature, and I think that we should shut down all zoos. Shut up! Shut up! Stop being too smart! Stop trying to pull in your political crap, or pull in how you feel about animals, or about, well, I think people should be vegan. Shut up! Stop trying to shove agendas down our throat. Stop trying to follow the studio formulas because that's going to make you successful, and just make a movie because, well, this is my own visionary film. I don't care about outside influence. I don't care about the politics of the world. People go to the movies to enjoy the cinema. They go to the movies to enjoy their time there. They don't want to be reminded of awful stuff that goes on outside of the building. Give us 2 hours of Bullet Train over 2 hours of Nope, because Nope is trying to be too cute, too smart, trying to set up all these symbolisms, following the formula. Bullet Train, you walked in there, you left there, you enjoyed the hell out of your time, and no one's pushing down an agenda down your throat. No studio's trying to, the easy setup, the easy climax, and the easy set down, right? It's not a 3-point structure. Bullet Train wasn't. Nope, easy 3-point structure. They're going to discover an alien, they're going to fight an alien, then they're going to be happy, and everybody's happy. And we're going to use symbolism here, here, and here. And we're going to have this character be angry, happy, sad, happy again. Get out of that crap. You're ruining movies. Sincerely. Movies need to be made with the director and the writer's own vision at heart. And whether they're good or whether they're bad, let the people decide. Keep your politics out of it. Keep your agendas out of it. Keep your formulas out of it. And let the cinema return to the big screen. Let Hollywood shine, not the people necessarily, or the town. But let the film industry in Hollywood shine for making movies that have a unique vision, taste, and feel. And not praise the movies that are just propaganda, formulated garbage. The death of cinema is here, people. And I'm trying to breathe life back into it.
That's life. That's life. That's what all the people say.